New video from History Matters. We got how wild was the Wild West? Let's get straight into this one, man.
When people think of the American Wild West, several ideas often spring to mind. Saloons,
Cowboys!
Conflict between cowboys and Native Americans,
Yep.
a general sense of lawlessness,
I
and
love
people being
cowboys.
tied up to railroads for some
Yep.
inexplicable reason. The prevailing idea is that the Wild West was, well, wild. But how true is this view? Just how wild?
Bro, I'm telling you right now, if this ruins Cowboys for me, I swear, dude, I
the
swear.
Wild West.
Please tell me it's
Just to clear up
wild.
some dates, when most people are talking about the Wild West, they're mostly referencing the period between 1848, when the US gained these lands, up until the early 20th century. So we'll go through these common images of the Wild West one at a time. First of all, saloons were very common since everybody liked to drink. But a couple of misconceptions exist. One, most saloons had regular doors because the Old West was...
Bro, how are you going to do this to me, man? How are you going to do this to me, man? It makes sense, you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, when it's cold and raining and whatnot, like, it makes sense it's regular doors, but, oh, come
dusty,
on.
And also because you want to lock the door sometimes.
True,
yes,
true.
they did serve booze. It was expensive. Yes, there was gambling.
Like, if they didn't actually have doors, people would just go and help themselves to drinks all the time.
It caused problems, and yes, there were prostitutes, but they weren't exactly ever present. So just how wild were these saloons? They weren't. Most of them were essentially workers' clubs, and it was more likely you'd hear about marks than see a mass brawl. But what about cowboys then? Do they match up to the common image that we have of them? Nope. Cowboys were ranchers and worked to keep cattle safe from predators and the occasional thief. Now, cowboys all over the American West did develop a culture of suspicion of outsiders and of loutish violence, which led to many people who stayed in small frontier towns being accosted by local ranch workers. Sometimes they would be robbed, sometimes they would be assaulted, and sometimes the locals acted up to play up to the stereotype. What stereotype? Well, along the East Coast, many people were fascinated with the rugged culture that had been developing, and so many journalists travelled to the frontier to provide stories which they promptly exaggerated. And something not often spoken about is the fact that cowboys had bosses, and those bosses weren't too keen on the whole violence thing. Hence why when cowboys were caught misbehaving, they were fired. As for the cowboys and Indians trope, Native Americans were treated horrendously by those moving westward. However, most of the violence towards them wasn't between natives and roaming gangs of cowboys and bandits, it was between them and the central government, who could and did exert considerable force.
Bro, this is just ruining Cowboys for me, man. This is fucking ruining Cowboys for me. At least the movies and the TV shows and all of that, at least they're good, man. They're good.
Which brings us onto law
Really good entertainment.
There's a common idea of constant duels, robberies, and a general sense of lawlessness, which was caused by there only being one sheriff every 100 square miles. Often, sheriffs would be aided by several others in their duties, and also being a sheriff was quite boring. When, say, looking at California during the gold rush, most crime was alcohol-related, and there was very little in the way of serious violence, although criminal gangs did exist, especially in the South. However, the central government was able to exert pretty considerable control over the area despite the sheer empty distances. If crime got too bad, the central government or the state government...
Bro, this is making Cowboys sound like it's so fucking dull.
...could quickly clamp down on it because governors and politicians don't like to look bad and want to be re-elected.
Oh my
God. And as for the whole tying people to railroads thing, it originated as a trope of fiction in what were called dime novels, which were incredibly popular. And yes, this did actually happen to people, but one, it happened all over the US, not just in the West, and two, it happened about 5 times over a 50-year period.
Wow.
And so, to answer the question, how wild was the Wild West, the answer is, well, a little. Just as wild as the American East, or say rural Italy was at the time. The fact is, for most Americans living on the frontier, life was very similar to that back in the East. For every cowboy, there was a miner or a furniture maker, and a small mining town was often, all things considered, pretty boring. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Wow. Way to ruin Cowboys for me, man. I need to be careful with watching some of these videos, but yeah, again, it was an interesting video. I did enjoy it. And if you guys did enjoy it too, make sure you do leave a thumbs up and make sure you do subscribe for more future content. And I'll see you guys in the next video.